Today, I want to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's one of the best young players in basketball, but people don't really seem to be talking about him a lot. And I do want to talk about why he is such a great young player and why people might not be talking about him a lot. But before we do that, please feel free to like and subscribe. Also, if you're new, subscribe if you like what you see. I make videos like this all the time. We talk about the NBA, high school basketball, college basketball, basically any level of basketball. So again, if you like this stuff, feel free to subscribe. Maybe tell your friends, family, friendly, neighborhood Spider-Man, whoever. But let's talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, again, I think is a future starter in this league. Because he's already playing at a borderline all-star level in his second season as a pro. And people just aren't talking about him a lot. And you look at his stats and you're like, okay, he had a solid rookie year in LA, 10.8 points a game, 2.8 rebounds a game, 3.3 assists per game, like 47.6% from the field, 36.7% from three, 80% from the line. Super efficient player. But you could argue, he was, just a rookie and he was on a playoff team and, he was kind of, maybe it was just a case of his efficiency being him not taking a lot of shots. But year 2 comes around and he gets traded, okay? Traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder in that massive Paul George trade. And he's been putting on a show in Oklahoma City. 19.3 points a game, 6.1 rebounds a game, 3.3 assists per game, 47.3% from the field, 35.1% from 3, 80.1% from the line. And he looks really good. And, it's just not a lot of people talking about him. And I think the reason people aren't talking about him is I understand this idea where maybe he's not the most exciting player to watch. I mean, when you got other guards, like other young guards, John Morant, De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young, just to name a few, they're very exciting players to watch. Like, whether it's with speed, explosiveness, scoring, whatever, flashy passing, they all do that, and it's really exciting to watch. At least for a casual fan. Trae specifically gets a lot of people on the seat with his fancy handles and things like that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a different story than all those other guards I named. Because when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plays the game, it's very fundamental. It isn't a lot of flash. It isn't a lot of fancy moves. It's very much simple, but really effective. And part of that has to do with his length. Has a super long wingspan. He's 6'5", weighs 181 pounds. So he's a bit of a string bean, but he's super long. Uses that size to his advantage defensively, and again, is really efficient as a player. And he takes shots all over the place. It's not like he just takes shots from the 3-point line, or he takes a lot of shots from one specific distance from the field. It's pretty spread out, and he's relatively efficient in every distance from the field. So I think that's impressive as well. And again, for a casual fan, it really isn't the most fun thing to do to watch a player like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The stats look good, really good, especially for a guard in his second year. But it isn't as exciting, at least for a casual fan. I find it really exciting because it is very much methodical. It's again very simple but very effective. Is something I do value and I do find entertaining a lot when I watch the NBA. I think of it with a player like Tim Duncan. I'm not saying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is even close to Tim Duncan, but Tim Duncan wasn't the most fun player necessarily to watch from an entertainment standpoint. But he was simple and he was effective. And the dominance from that simple and effective play was what made him entertaining, at least for me to watch. And I think, again, simple and effective player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who uses those simple play style moves to be efficient and productive. And I find that rather entertaining when I watch him play. It's something I found entertaining at Kentucky, and it's something I find entertaining now. And again, simple, effective, and in control. And the thing is, I think out of all the minus Trae Young, okay. If you were to put all the young guards in one draft, so guys like Fox, guys like Trae, I said I wasn't going to put them in it, but I guess if we're talking about them as prospects when they were coming out of college, so we got Fox, we got Trae, we got a guy like John Morant, we got a guy like Colin Sexton we'll throw in there as well. Just name a few important guys. We'll throw Lonzo Ball in there, and you put them and put Shai in there, and you put them all in one draft class, and you asked me, out of all of them, when they were coming out of college, based off what you saw from them coming out of college, who do you think out of all of them has the highest floor? I would say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because he's always in control, because he always knows how to make the right play and doesn't necessarily have tunnel vision, because he can be effective in almost any system and has a play style that could fit any system, and because he doesn't necessarily care about the camera as much, I would say he has the highest floor out of all the young point guards, at least when they were coming out of college. Like, as far as like what I thought of them coming out of college, I would say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had the highest floor out of all of them. And I still think that kind of remains true. I mean, based off what we've seen from Trae Young so far, like, it's kind of hard to say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a higher floor than Trae Young. That when what I saw from Trae in his rookie year was basically his floor, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't even as good as rookie Trae in my opinion right now, to a certain extent, honestly. But as far as like floor wise, but I still do think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a really high floor. Like, at worst, this is a player who can be a solid starting point guard on a contender, in my opinion. That's the kind of floor we're talking about with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So that's my floor with him. His ceiling is interesting to me. Before we talk about the ceiling, I will talk about what I think the reasonable expectation is. I'm not saying this necessarily as a player player comparison, but the path he's going to go on, it's going to be either one of two things. Either he ends up on like a team in the East, or like say he leaves Oklahoma City, or maybe he stays in Oklahoma City. He's going to be a player that like makes All-Star teams, but it's going to be like Chris Middleton All-Star, like really effective player, totally deserving of the All-Star spot. But you know, casual fans will be like, why is he here? He's not exciting. He's not this. He's not that. But he's producing at an All-Star level, and he rightfully is making All-Star teams. Or it's going to be like Mike Conley, where again he plays in a conference with Steph Curry, he plays in a conference with Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, John Morant, De'Aaron Fox. I mean, the competition's lower at the point guard spot for making All-Star teams, so it's going to be hard for him to do that. And you look at he maybe plays shooting guard. James Harden, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, just name a few. Luka probably should be in point guard, but that's besides the point. So maybe, like Mike Conley, despite being an All-Star level player year in and year out, he doesn't make All-Star teams because the West is so loaded with guards. But I hope for him that he can be an All-Star, maybe like a Chris Middleton. I think that's a reasonable expectation for him at this point. Not necessarily the play style, but like that level of All-Star. I think that's what we're talking about. Like a Goran Dragic kind of All-Star, like the year Goran Dragic made. I think he can be that kind of All-Star. Ceiling-wise, I think he could be a two-way star in this league. I mean, at his best, I think, talking about all NBA teams, I would say at most like either second or third team is his ceiling. Like an all NBA second or third team kind of player. Like mostly third team, but maybe he can sneak into the second team in a few years. I don't know. But I think he definitely, and this isn't even talking about his ceiling. Like, this is also something I probably should have mentioned, expectations. I think he's going to make a lot of all defensive teams in his career. He has the size, the length, and the IQ necessary to be a really good defender in the league, and he's shown it already. So there is that. again, I really like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think the reason people don't talk about him a lot is because of his style of play. It's, again, for a casual fan, it may not be the most interesting thing to watch, but, you know, it's effective. He gets the job done. He's efficient, and he's producing. So, like, I wouldn't say that's a bad thing, the fact that he may be boring to fans who may only watch highlights or look at stats. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. It means so much to me, guys. You guys don't understand. But, again, thank you. Like and subscribe if you're new. Feel free to leave feedback in the comments section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.